Welcome to this episode of my YouTube video. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about the three things I usually take into consideration before I will enter the currency market. So one thing that you have to take into consideration is what you have setups and entries. So you have to know the difference between setups and entries. So sometimes you can get a good setups, but the market won't give you what an entry. So when something of that sort happens, one thing you have to do is what you have to let it go. When it happens like that, you have to let it go. So let me show you the setups that I'm talking about and the entries that I'm going to talk about. So when you talk about the setup, so usually this is how the market moves. So this is how the market moves. So the market moves in waves. So it moves higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Okay, uptrend. It moves impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Okay, so that's how the market usually moves. It moves impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. So when you see the market behaving like that, it means what the market is in what a bullish trend or an uptrend. Okay, so the setup that I'm talking about, you have something called a break and retest. So at this instance, we have a support area over here. We have a resistance level over here. So when the market creates a resistance, what you are expecting is what you are expecting a breakout. So when you see a clear break, when you see the candle breaking this and close, it means what it has given you a setup. Okay, so in this instance, the market has given you a breakout setup. So when the market gives a breakout, it doesn't mean you can take it up front, or it doesn't mean you can take this entry. You have to what? It needs to give you an entry. So this is what you have to take in consideration. The market needs to give you an entry. If it gives you something, when it breaks out, it doesn't mean it has given you an entry. So this is what a setup. Okay, or you can get a break and retest too. So it can be moving like this. It can move impulse, correction, impulse, correction. You get it? Impulse. Okay, so this is also what a break and retest setup. This is a break and retest setup. You get it? So this one too hasn't given you an entry. This one too hasn't given you an entry. It has just what given you a setup. So when you see something like this one too, you have to look for what an entry. So one thing that I'm saying is what the market can sometimes give you a setup, but it won't give you an entry. Or sometimes too, it can give you the setup, but and at the same time too, it can give you an entry. So some of the setup that I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. So we have impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Okay, so this is what a bullish. When you see something like this, you don't need an indicator for you to be able to use to identify the current move of the market. This is what a bullish trend. You feel me? This is a bullish trend. So after identifying the trend, the next it's what? Find the entry. You get it? The next is to find an entry. So after identifying the trend, how are you going to find an entry? So usually you have to buy on what? Support and resistance levels. You have to buy on strong area of interest. So when I talk about strong area of interest, I usually consider what? The higher time frame. So the higher time frame, like the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, and what? The H4 time frames. These are the time frames that I usually what? Buy on. Okay, these are the time frames that I buy on. The weekly time frames, the daily time frames, and what? The H4 time frames are the time frames that I consider when what? Executing the market. So with this one, so this is a break and retest what? A break and retest setup. So the market has given me a setup. So how am I going to what? Take an entry? So the things that I'm going to factor, or the things that I'm going to take into consideration when taking an entry on this kind of setup is what? I have to either look for a breakout or a retest. So with the entry too, so this is what you usually call this one a macro what? A macro setup. So the entries are going to give you the what? The micro it's going to give you the micro entries. Let me put it this way. So this is a setup. Okay, this is a setup. So when you are finding for the entry, this is what I usually factor. I factor what? A breakout or a retest, a candle breakout or a candle what? Break and retest. The retest, you usually call it what? An engulfing candles. When you are reading candles, you call it an engulfing candles. I usually look for what? A breakout candle, or maybe a strong bullish breakout of a zone, or what? A break and retest. These are the things that I usually take into consideration when I'm executing. So imagine the market has breakout and retested on this level. If the market has breakout and retested on this level, what are some of the things that I'm going to take into consideration is what? First of all, one entry that I'm going to take into consideration is what? A breakout. So since the market is in a bullish trend, I would like to see what? A strong bullish breakout or break and close above what? The resistance area. Currently it's what? Support. Since the candle has broken and closed above, it's currently what? Support. So one thing that I'm going to consider is what? I'm going to consider a breakout candle. I want to see a breakout candle. So I want to see something like this. I want to see something like this. I want to see a bullish candle. Okay, I want to see a strong bullish candle. So this is what I want to see. So my entry is going to be when the candle break above the resistance level. So I'm taking this one, I'm taking the H4 into consideration. We are factoring the time frame that you are going to take into consideration is what? The H4 candle. So I'm going to factor, or I'm going to take the H4 for this example. So I want to see what? A breakout. I want to see what? The next candle to what? Break above the previous candle. So this is what I want to see. I want to see if the next candle break. So this is a bullish candle, so that means the next candle is going to form around this level, around this end. So I want to see what? The next candle breaking above what? When the next candle break above the tip, okay, when the next candle break, I want to see the next candle breaking above what? I want to see the next candle breaking above the previous candle tip. So when the next candle break above the previous candle tip, this is what I want to see. When the next candle break above the previous candle tip, I'm going to what? Take an entry. So this will be my what? A breakout entry criteria. Okay, a breakout entry criteria. So when the next candle break above the previous candle tip, I'm going to take a buy. Okay, so this is what? One of my entry criteria. One of the things that I want to see when I want to enter the market, in case the market has what? Giving me the setup. These are the things that I want to see. Okay, and the next one is going to be what? The break, an engulfing candle, or what? A break and retest candle. So if the market has broken this one, if the candle break and close, if supposing maybe if the bullish candle break, okay, if the bullish candle break, okay, I'm expecting the next bullish candle to break above this one. But if the next candle close a bearish candle, okay, sometimes you can get the next candle closing what? Making a bearish candle. If I see a next candle making a bearish candle, okay, refusing to break the previous candle tip. So when I see something like this, I want the next candle to engulf the previous candle. I want the next candle to engulf the bearish candle. So I want the bullish candle to engulf the bearish candle. Okay, so if it overshadowed the next bearish candle, I'm going to take an entry. So this is what? A break. I call it a candle break and retest. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that is what? You see the candle broke out, made a retest and a trend continuation. So these are the things. This is what I want to see. Okay, this is what I want to see in case maybe I want to enter the market. Okay, this is what I want to see. So I want to see a bullish I want to see a bullish what? I want to see a bullish candle engulfing the previous candle what? I want to see the bullish candle engulfing the previous candle tip. So this will be my next what? Entry criteria. These are the things that's what I factor into consideration when I'm taking a buy. So I want the next candle to what? Engulf the previous candle, then I will take a buy. So this is my entry criteria 1 and entry criteria 2. And the last one is going to be, okay, the last one is going to be a long break and retest. Okay, so this is a short break, a candle break and retest, and you have a long break and retest. So sometimes the market can make a steep or it can make a deep breakout. Okay, so if it breaks out like this, okay, if it breaks, so this is an entry, and you have to make sure this market break and retest is what? A setup. Okay, so if the market make a steep retracement, I want the next candle to what? The next candle, so you see this one, there's no entry, so I want the next candle to retest on this level. Okay, if the next candle retests on this level, I want to see a bearish candle retesting on this level. So if the next candle retests on this level, I want to see what? A bullish, small bullish candle. So if I see a small bullish candle, if I see a small bullish candle, if I see a small bullish candle, my entry is going to be when it breaks the previous candle tip. Okay, when it breaks this one, when it breaks the next what? So this is the point I'm going to enter the market. When it breaks the previous candle tip, then what? I will take a buy. So I will take a buy over here. You get it? I'm going to take a buy over here. So this is what? A steep break and retest, okay, or a deep break and retest. So it broke out, made a retest, and what? It continued. Okay, and it continues. So these are the three things I usually factor into consideration, or I usually take into consideration when what? Taking an entry. So this one thing that you have to notice, what? This is what? A setup. So when the market gets to a support, when the market gets to an area of interest, these are the things that I want to see. I want to see a breakout, okay, then I'll enter. I want to see a candle break and retest, then I'll enter. So you have to make sure, one thing you have to notice, what? On what? A strong area of interest. I'm talking about when it gets to a strong area of interest. A strong area of what? When it gets to a strong area of interest, okay, or when it gets to a strong support or a resistance. So mostly I take my entry on what? I take my entry on what? Strong area of interest, or I take my entry on what? A strong support and resistance areas. So you have to take note of that. I take my entries on what? A strong support or resistances what? Levels. So these things that you are seeing, I want them to appear on what? Support and resistance level. So we factor the weekly into consideration. We are going to factor the daily into consideration, and what? We are going to factor the H4 into consideration. So these are the levels that I want to see this what? Entry system what? Appearing, or what? To take effect on. I want them to what? Take effect on these levels. That's when I'm going to take an entry in the market. Okay, so one thing, as I said, the key thing that I have to take into consideration in this video is what? We have difference between setup and what? An entry. I hope this video is going to be helpful. On the demonstration part, so let's move to the live market and see how mostly it appears on. So we talked about the three types of entry, and we talk about the breakout entry, we talk about the small break and retest entry, and we talk about the steep break and retest entry. So let's move to the practical section. So with the practical, when you come to the live market, as we already said, we said when you are taking an entry, you have to make sure we are taking an entry on what? A strong area of interest. So the area of interest, it simply means what? The support and resistances levels, but you have to make sure they are strong area of interest. Okay, so I factor the strong area of interest. I'm talking about the higher time frame support and resistances level, like the H4, the daily, the weekly, the monthly. Those levels are the ones that I'm talking of, not the lower time frame. One thing about when you use the lower time frames, you are easily to get faked out, or you are easily to get stopped out. Okay, so for always make sure you are using the higher time frame, or make sure you are you are taking the higher time frame when you are doing all these things. Other than that, if you are going to use the wrong time frame and you are going to get stopped out, coming here to complain that it doesn't work, it's your own fault. So before you take an entry, make sure you are taking an entry on stronger area of interest, or stronger support or resistance. So you talk about the breakout. So some of the breakout entry, so I took this entry the other time. So this is where the market made the breakout. So if the market break out over here, okay, you see when you break out, so before I will take an entry, I factor, there are certain things that I take them into consideration. So you call them confluence. Okay, I have to see the range, because the market moves in range. Okay, anytime that the market is going to retrace, it is going to retrace on what? Either a support level or resistance level. So I trade in zones, so I have to make sure the zone that I'm taking the trade on are tradable zones. So when this one broke out, there was a tradable zone, okay, at this level. So this is a breakout entry. So the moment the market broke and closed, so I have to always make sure the candle has broken and closed. This is what you have to take it. It's very important, not an ongoing candle. If the candle is still in section, it's going to fake you out. Okay, the probability or the chances of it coming back is very high. So you have to always make sure the candle has settled down before you make a decision. That's the most important thing. Always make sure the candle has settled down before you make a decision in the forex market or in any financial market. So after the candle close, this is the point the candle closed. Okay, so after the candle closed, this is the level, or I took the entry at this level. Okay, so this was the entry. So this is the entry that I'm talking about. This is the breakout entry. Okay, after the resistance has broken, now turned to a support, I took the entry. On the next breakout of the candle, I took the entry. So this is a breakout entry. Okay, this is a breakout entry criteria. So I'm making everything simple for you to understand. And we have a short break and retest entry. So we have some more too over here. A short break and retest. So you see the candle, the price formed the resistance over here, now tends towards support. Okay, so when the market broke out, it formed a small support. So this is where you are going to take the entry. The next flip of the candle, okay, so this is where you are going to take your entry after identifying your area of interest. So area of interest, I said the support and resistance area on the higher time frame. Identify your tradable zones. So after identifying your tradable zones, this is the next level you are going to target. So this is the next level you are going to take an entry. So this point is going to be your this level is going to be your entry level. Okay, so this is the second criteria, or the second thing I look for, or I factor into consideration when taking a trade. So this is my second trade entry signal. So the third one is the steep break and retest. So with the steep break and retest, you have some over here. This is a steep break and retest. Okay, this is a steep. You see the market made a deep breakout, retested. I'm waiting for the next candle to create a support. So this is where it created a support. So this is where the support was created. It's created a support over here. Okay, it's created a support. So after the candle has closed bullish, I took the next entry at the break of the previous candle at the break of the previous candle tip. So this is where I took my next entry. Okay, so it's the same thing that I've indicated it over here. So you have to make sure, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, kindly do so to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please kindly give a like to the video. If you have not given a like to the video, please kindly do that. So after the breakout, after the break of the bullish candle, I took a buy. So you target the next zone. Okay, so these are the things that I factor, or these are the things that I look for when I'm taking an entry. So these are my 3 entry criteria, the 3 entry signals that it helps me to enter the currency market or the forex market. I hope this video is going to be a help to you.